So Josh Allen, during training camp, spoke with Kay Adams on the Up and Adams show, and this is what he had to say about his new wide receiver core after the loss of Stefon Diggs and Gabriel Davis. Take a listen.
Who do you like? You're saying the 1-2. Who's the third option? Who are you liking so far?
Well, I mean, I don't know if we really have a 1 or 2. I think we got a group of guys that are just finding ways to get open, and they're doing their job. They understand their roles within each concept. Curtis Samuel's a guy that sticks out to me using his speed. He's kind of a gadget guy. You can place him in the backfield. I'm sure you saw some of that today. Mm-hmm. He scored a touchdown running the ball. So Mack Hollins bringing the juice, drafting a guy like Keon, guys that can go up and get the ball. MVS, a guy like Terrell Shavers, who's been in the system for a year now. He was on the P-Squad last year. He's come to play. But a lot of guys are making plays all over the field right now, and they're working really hard.
So do you think that the Bills not having a solidified wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2 could rear its ugly head during the 2024-2025 season?
I do. I think that you got Josh Allen there trying to put the best picture on, the best spin on what could be a problem here. He says, I think we got a group of guys that are just finding ways to get open, and they're doing their job. They understand their roles within each concept. I mean, some of these guys are brand new. How could they understand their roles perfectly now in like 3 or 4 days of practice? This is just getting started, and most of these guys are brand new. They are working plays all over the field and are working really hard. The vibe is great, and I think there is less tension in the Bills camp this year than there was last year with all the issues they had with Stefon Diggs. So. But I just took a look at the wide receiver core that they have, right? They have a rookie in Keon Coleman, who was drafted in the second round. Who knows? I mean, he's probably the upside potential on him is really good. But we don't know what he can do. He hasn't played a game in the NFL yet, not even a preseason game. Just caught it through a few practices, a few passes during practice without his pads on. So that remains to be seen. Curtis Samuel came from the Commanders. 62 catches last year, 613 yards, 9.5 yards per average per catch, 4 TDs. For his career, since 2017, 317 receptions, 3,383 yards, 10.7 yards per catch, and 22 TDs. I would say that's okay, but not outstanding, certainly not a number 1 receiver. Then you got Mack Hollins from Atlanta. Last year he had all of 18 catches, 251 yards, 14 yards a catch, no touchdowns. For his career, 131 catches, 1,700 yards, 12.9 and yards per catch, and 10 touchdowns. Then you've got Chase Claypool. Wow, got him from the Bears. He had 8 catches last year, 77 yards. 10 yards a catch, 1 touchdown for his career, Nate.
Yeah, for his career.
175 yards, 175 catches, 2,200 yards, 13 yards a catch, and 13 TDs, which the yards per catch isn't too bad. And the amount of yards there in total is okay. They haven't played that many years. And I think he could be good. I don't understand why the Steelers let him go. And the Bears let him go. I guess he was hurt last year because he only had 8 catches.
He was bad with the Bears.
Yeah.
Bad locker room.
Yeah. And then Kansas City, they got Valdes-Scantling. Well, we all saw him running down the field. Mahomes throwing a perfect ball about 40 yards in the air. Scantling, right on his hands, catches the ball and drops it. Which was what happened to the Chiefs a lot last year. A lot of drop balls.
Led the league in drops.
A lot of drop balls. And Scantling, because of that, wound up not playing all that much. 21 catches, 315 yards. 15 yards a catch, which is pretty good. 1 TD. And for his career, 186 catches, 3,155 yards, 17 yards a catch, and 16 TDs. And then, finally, KJ Hamler from the Broncos. He didn't play at all last year. He had 42 catches for his career, 620 yards, 15 yards a catch, and 3 TDs. I would say the Bills, it's a work in progress to to say it best. And whatever spin Josh Allen's putting on it right now is a little bit of hype, because I think it's a big unknown and a big risk.
Absolutely, it's a big risk. We're now going pre-Stefon Diggs, Josh Allen. And Stefon Diggs, you can look at the numbers. The production skyrocketed. I think he had a 69% completion percentage year one with Diggs, which was hands down probably his best and most efficient year. Well, now we're going into a Josh Allen where he lost his two top receivers, which accounted for 241 targets. It's a lot of targets. The rest of the team had nowhere near that. Absolutely nowhere near that. So the Bills, and we've talked about the Buffalo Bills a lot on this show. Or at least I have. Now, they're in a weird situation. Josh Allen, phenomenal quarterback, puts up gaudy numbers. Can't win and can't beat his number one rival. It's like the bad boy Pistons against the Bulls. Well, I'm not saying Josh Allen is Michael Jordan, but there's always that one opponent that he just can't get past when it matters most. The one obstacle from letting him get to the promised land. Josh Allen can't beat Mahomes in the playoffs. In the regular season, that's great. It's absolutely great. But for when it matters most, what puts you in the history books for your legacy is not what you've done in week 3. It's what you do in week 20, week 21, week 22, when it matters the most, where it's a game 7 every week. It's not, well, we'll get them next time. Oh, well, we got a game next week. Let's go prepare for that. No, we're kind of done. If we lose this game, we're out. It's game 7. Josh Allen has been in an unfortunate situation wherein sometimes he tries too hard and makes a Superman player tries to, and it just doesn't work out. Other times it's, well, I have to keep up because my defense can't stop a 13-second play from Patrick Mahomes. That on that play, that was abysmal, and we've ripped Sean McDermott and that entire system several times on that horrible play call for that 13 seconds against the Chiefs. So they're in a weird situation. They lost a lot of pieces. On both sides. Gabe Davis, Stefon Diggs, Leonard Floyd, Micah Hyde, Mitch Morris, Tyrell Dodson, Trey White, Jordan Poyer, Jordan Phillips, Shaq Lawson. They lost a lot of pieces. A lot of pieces. A lot of it for financial reasons. They couldn't afford a lot of these guys. So they kind of have to go with budget cuts and hiring people that are not at the top of the league in any statistical category or even in a production stance. They also have a pretty difficult schedule. They play the Dolphins twice. They play the Jaguars. They play the Ravens, the Texans, the Jets twice. They play the Chiefs, the Niners, the Rams, the Lions. That's a difficult schedule. Let's just say, based on difficulty alone, right? The easiest games they have: Cardinals, Titans, Seahawks, Colts, Patriots twice. Well, then let's go against the difficult teams. Dolphins twice. Ravens, Texans, Jets twice. Chiefs, Niners, Rams, Lions. I threw in the Jaguars there because Trevor Lawrence is now making $55 million a year. I have to now put him in the sense of, well, he's getting paid like he's a top quarterback in the league, so I'm going to give him that respect. And now I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback currently, but I think when he plays well, I think if he plays normal and not injured, he can be. And I've put him in a top 10 quarterback list before. But something in the NFL that really not a lot of other sports have is you can't do it alone. Josh Allen's Superman tactic of when everything is not going great or the system requires me to do something spectacular, I'm going to take that deep shot. I'm going to make the superhero play. That's what Caleb Williams has been ridiculed for, and he hasn't played a single snap in the NFL. That's what his scouting report said. He holds on to the ball for way too long, tries to make a big play instead of the best play. Josh Allen, we've seen a lot of cases where that is the case. He stands in the pocket instead of taking a nice short pass to Stefon Diggs. He stays in the pocket, doesn't see Deion Dawkins getting pancaked by Chris Jones, and he underthrows a pass to Shakir. He could have just dished it off to Diggs. It was that easy. But I understand why. Josh Allen feels like he needs to because it's been several times in his career where he needs to do everything. Because his offensive line wasn't great. His running back wasn't great. Maybe the offensive calling wasn't great. But Joe Brady changed that. Ken Dorsey did not develop a nice run scheme. Joe Brady comes in, James Cook's production skyrockets, which means Josh Allen's rushing and passing efficiency also took a massive jump up.
That's a good sign for them.
It's an absolutely amazing sign. Now, you did lose Mitch Morris, Mitch Morris, who was your starting center. Could it be somewhere he matters a lot? Jason Kelce, what's the impact of Saquon Barkley in the running game for the Eagles? You just lost your starting center. I don't think that will be the massive impact. I think it's the amount of weapons. Now, when it comes to MVS, it's not looking good. You bring up Chase Claypool's career numbers and last season numbers. He's fallen behind Chase Claypool. He even has a shot to actually get passed again, too. It looks like, according to reports from training camp, it looks like Tyrell Shavers, a second-year wide receiver, because of his, upside, could surpass MVS for the fifth wide receiver spot on the Buffalo Bills.
They may cut him. Maybe they'll cut.
They very well could.
They'll cut Scantling.
Because right now, Scantling is signed for $2.29 million. Now, what I also find a little bit interesting, what's the defense going to look like? Is Von Miller going to be okay? Is Von Miller going to be good? Because
he needs to rebound, man. He didn't have much of a year last year. All kinds of off-field issues with him.
Well, not only that, is when he came onto the field, he played 12 games. He looked like a shell of himself. They had the fourth most sacks in the NFL, but they lost Leonard Floyd to the 49ers, who led the team in sacks with 10.5. But they couldn't replace him because they didn't have the money to go out and get a star rusher like Christian Wilkins on the interior. You couldn't get anyone a top pass rusher, so you have to deal with Smoot and Tuhill. That's what you got to deal with now. I think it's very difficult to say how Von Miller will bounce back because we saw him just get paid 6 years, $120 million. He's making $20 million, and these were his numbers last year. 12 games, no sacks, 3 tackles, 13 pressures.
That's all he had. It's pretty bad.
In 12 games, didn't record a single sack, 3 tackles.
How much time did he play
pressures.
in each of those games? I don't think they played him a lot in some of those games.
I think it could be defense because you lost you lost Trey White and your starting safeties. That's a massive hit.
Yeah.
If any team loses their starting defensive pieces and you can't financially replace them with the same level of guy, the same value of player as the guys you just lost, shouldn't that, generally that means you're taking a massive hit defensively.
Yeah. Well, I think that the Bills are definitely more of a question mark this year than last year. I still pick them to win the division. I think
you have them winning the AFC.
I think I do have them winning the division. And the last time we went around on this, we get another chance at the end of training camp.
We do.
Take a look.
Which is about 3-4 weeks by now. Yeah.
And I think that Josh Allen's going to have his best season this year because he won't have Stefon Diggs irritating him and creating tension, unnecessary tension. These wide receivers, while they're a little pedestrian, maybe Keon Coleman is a star. And the other guy, Shakir, is not the guy named Shakir who plays for them. He's pretty good.
Shakir.
He's pretty good. So Curtis Samuel probably playing with Josh Allen. He didn't play with much when he was with the Commanders, right?
Well, it's the Commanders.
Yeah. So
they were just not a good football team.
So I do think they have a chance to win the division. I think that the defense is a little weaker than it was last year. Certainly, with losing both starting safeties is a big hit. So they're going to be relying on Josh Allen a lot more, and he's going to have. I think he'll have a great year. And if he does, then I think that the chances of winning the division are good because you went through the list there. There are some teams that are easily going to beat, right?
Yeah.
Just go through it once more.
The easiest teams, obviously, Cardinals, Titans, Seahawks, Colts, Patriots twice.
Okay, so that's 7 wins. That's 6 wins right there.
Right.
So that's 6 out of 17.
Yep.
So 17 minus 6, that's 11 games.
Yep.
So if they split with the rest of those teams, that's 5 more wins, right? So they would win 11 games that way, and maybe I
have them going 9-8 because I do think they'll split with the Dolphins. They'll lose to the Ravens. They'll lose to the Texans. They'll lose to the Chiefs, Niners, Rams, Lions. I do have them losing to those teams. And then it's really up for a
They
debate.
play the Lions at home or away?
They're away. Lions home. I think
Lions home?
Lions are home.
Are home?
Yeah, I think it's going to be very difficult because we've already seen them lose to the Jaguars. I think it could be difficult for them to beat the Jaguars again with a healthy Trevor Lawrence. I mean, they couldn't last time on a neutral field. But what's interesting is that we see these teams, Dolphins, Chiefs, go for speed. Bills taking a different route. They're going size.
Yeah, well,
MVS, 6'4". Tyrell Shavers.
You mentioned their running game came back under the new offensive coordinator last year, and that helped Allen a lot too. They still have Cooks.
They do.
Yeah, he was a good running back last year.
Well, like I said, they're going size. MVS, 6'4". Tyrell Shavers, 6'4". Shakir, 6 foot. Curtis Samuel, 5'11". Mack Hollins, 6'4". Keon Coleman, 6'4". Chase Claypool, 6'4". Josh Allen, 6'5". James Cook is 5'11".
Yeah.
So they're going for a big team compared to speed, like a couple of these other teams.
Yeah. I think the tall, fast receiver is a plus.
It's difficult to find a Xavier Worthy. Randy Moss was one of those types.
Yeah.
Was he 6'2", something like that?
He might have been taller than that.
He could have been taller than that. One of the fastest receivers ever in NFL history. You see him out in the open field, you're like, yeah, no, I'm probably not going to pick this off or defend this pass. But I do have the Bills doing okay. I think they're going to be third in the AFC East, though. I think they go 9-8. I think the Jets and the Dolphins. We talked about the Jets' schedule last week.
I don't trust the Dolphins. I don't trust the Dolphins. They fall apart late in the year.
If the Dolphins could be successful,
late in the year.
Correct. If the Dolphins could be very successful the first 75% of the season, the first 70% of the season, they're good.
Yeah, but you mentioned on the show last week, Tua, once he gets beyond week 12, he falls apart because it gets cold.
So exactly. Play a good 70%, and you're fine.
That's happened.
If you do really well the first 70% of the season, I say first, even though that's
that might not win you the division.
It might not. We saw it last year. It didn't. The Dolphins looked like they secured the AFC East last year. Then they fell apart late in the year due to injuries, poor performance against some teams, shocking upsets like the Titans last year, and the Bills took over the AFC East again. That very well could happen. Very well could happen. So we'll see. I just think that it's not going to be as pretty as it has been. Could they focus more on James Cook? They should. Will they? Again, scheme. Todd Monken went away from the scheme.
Okay, well, you mentioned one other factor that we also mentioned in the last clip.
Yeah.
Right? The Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
They're a dynasty.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. They're going for that three-peat. It's going to be very hard to stop them.
And that game, let me bring it up, is in week 11. Bills are at home. Once again, regular season, it'll be great to see the Bills and the Chiefs in the regular season. I want to see it in January. That's when I want to see them face off. January.
Yeah,
because
there's a chance they will.
I think it's a pretty high chance. Although, the Bills go up against Lamar Jackson, we could be seeing then they don't even get a chance to reach the Chiefs.
Yeah, could be.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.